Hello, my apologies for delayed start. Unfortunately, the Hangout Toolbox app in Hangouts prevented the Hangout from being recorded for some reason. Had all kinds of errors. Anyway, we're here now, so it's working. I'm assuming it's working. It says it's working, so it must be working. Today, I want to show you how to use the search and filter email tool, something I put together a while back, but due to various problems with AppScript, it just refused to work consistently. So I had to rewrite the whole thing using a different approach, and that's where the S.A.F.E came into light, and that's what I'm going to show you how to do today. So essentially, for those that don't know, it's a simple tool, simple to use anyway, that allows you to easily search for certain emails and filter certain emails, and then store the results in a, they wind up being in a spreadsheet with a name that makes some sort of sense. You can assign your own names to these, and then you're able to subsequently look up these presets, if you will, for searching and filtering email. And it's very handy, very useful. It's using Google Forms and using AppScript and Google Sheets to make it work. And so I'll show you some examples later. For now, I'll show you how to get it set up on your end. Just quickly switch to screen share here. Okay, here we go. So the first thing you'll need to do is you'll need to go and get a couple of URLs to make it work. So the main URL, the form, is right here, and I'll just leave it on the screen for a little bit. And it's short Google URL with 18 uppercase R, lowercase MW, and a 0 on the end. And then the second URL is also short with uppercase O, uppercase R, uppercase N, and then F as in Frank, lowercase, V as in Victor, lowercase, and then another F as in Frank, lowercase. So you'll need two of those URLs. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and close there. And I'm going to go ahead and start another profile, the one that doesn't have this application yet, and show you exactly what the process is. So kind of mimicking what you have here, meaning you don't have the application yet. And so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take this first URL. I'm just going to copy it. And then I'm going to go to the new tab here and paste it. And that's the first step. Once you paste the URL, you'll see the form come up, at least the visual, what it's going to look like. And it's actually in Google templates, allowing you to click on use this template to grab this form for yourself. So that's what you need to do is click on the use this template button up at the top left here. And once you do that, then the form is going to appear. Now it's on your end. Now it's in your Google Drive. And the only thing I'd recommend changing here is the name, so it doesn't say copy of this. You can just get rid of the copy off, or name it anything you want. But this is what it is, so that's what I'm going to leave it. Okay. And at this point, we have the form ready to go. The next step would be to set up a sheet with responses. And as you can see, when you click on the responses tab here in the form, it shows there's 0 responses, and then it's got a little link here that says create a spreadsheet. That's where all the answers are going to be. When we say answers, it's actually going to be the information you're going to select from the form. So you click on that little icon, and it says create new spreadsheet. It's going to call it with the same name as you have the form, with the word responses in parentheses at the end, which is fine. So you don't have to do anything, just simply click on create. Okay. Once you do that, now we have a spreadsheet that will have all of these fields, all the information we need to store, which is great. The next thing we want to do is actually put in the smarts into it, because right now it's just a sheet. It stores information, doesn't do anything. So the next step you want to do is you want to go to Tools menu in the spreadsheet, and then select Script Editor. That's where we're going to put all the logic behind this little application. Once the script editor opens, you will see this code.js tab, and this little function, but it doesn't do anything at this point, so you can just erase it. You don't need it for anything. And we actually need the code to do the job, and that's in the second URL. So if you go back to this URL here, copy that, and pull it up in yet another tab, you will see that it comes up with the actual Google App script. Eventually. There we go. And it has all the code. You don't need to do anything special with the code. You just simply need to copy it. And so you can either click the cursor and drag. That's one way to do it. Or you can simply click anywhere and then click Control-A to select everything, Control-C to copy it. And that's all you need to do on this point. And at this point, you can just close the that particular URL. Now here, we are ready to paste it. And if we do the Control-A, Control-C, instead of selecting everything, one line at a time manually, then unfortunately, when you paste it, it puts a couple extra lines at the very end here. So you want to make sure that when you look at this line 138 and beyond, you just highlight it and erase it. You don't need that. It's actually going to give you an error if you leave it there. So if you use the select all and paste approach, it'll put a little bit of extra junk in there for you. So just get rid of it. So your line 137 should have, basically the last two lines should be these two curly brackets and then nothing else. Okay. Once you get it done and you get it set up that way, then you can save it by clicking on the little save icon here at the top, and it'll ask you for the name, and you can call anything you want. It's called S.A.F.E. It's as good as anything. It doesn't really matter what name you put here, whatever you want. And you click on OK. Now, once you save it, see it says saving project, and then it's done. There's one more thing that you need to do with this particular piece of code, and that is identify when it should run. And to do that, you need to set up what's called the trigger. And that's pretty easy to do. If you look at the icons at the top, right next to the little cloud and to the left of the play button, there's a little, looks like a little clock. And when you hover over it, it says current projects triggers. And that's what we need to do, set up a trigger. By the way, if you don't understand any of this stuff in terms of details, don't worry about it. To use this, you don't need to know any of this stuff. Just simply follow the instructions here, and it'll work fine. Don't worry about knowing all these things. So when you click on that, it will come up with this current project triggers pop up, and it says no triggers set up. Click here to add one now. So you click on this link, and then it comes up with a trigger, and it's under the run. It says create links, so leave it alone. Under events, it says time driven. You want to pull this down and select from spreadsheet instead. Okay, and then on open, you want to select on form submit instead. Okay, so it says create links from spreadsheet on form submit, and then you simply click on save. When you click on save, it will come up and say authorization required. This app needs authorization to run, so you click on continue to give it authorization. It's going to come up with this line, and you click on allow to let it have permission to run this. Okay, that's all you need to do at the code level. So now you can close this tab. You're done with that. And then on the spreadsheet, even though you've done the code and everything is ready, the only other thing that make it a little bit easier, even though this is not mandatory, but I recommend you do it, is put the URL of the spreadsheet into the actual form itself. And I'll show you in a minute when I use it why it's important and why it's convenient. So all I do is just click on the URL. I click Control-C to select it and copy it, I'm sorry. And then I'm going to go back to another tab. I'm going to go to the Google shortener, which is goo.gl. I'm going to tell it that I'm not a robot by clicking here, and I'm going to paste that URL into the box here and click on shorten URL. Once I do that, I'm going to get my short URL, which I'm going to copy by right-clicking on it or hitting Control-C. And now you can close it. And now when you go back to the actual form here, we don't need the spreadsheet either at this point, go to the form itself. In the settings for the form, there is a section that says confirmation page, and it says list of your selections is at, and it says response sheet URL here. So just change this last part to be the URL, short URL for your spreadsheet. And that will, it'll make it much easier to use as you use this tool. Not mandatory again, but makes it easier to use. So do it. And then once you paste it, you click on save. That's it. That's the whole process to get everything set up. So now on this particular form, if I go ahead and click on the preview to get it into the form, then I'm going to put in a simple, let's say it's a emails for March as an example. For the title, you can specify any and all parameters that are here, such as what you're looking for in the email, where it's coming from, who was it addressed to, what was the substance, words or phrase in the subject line, what labels was used. You can use any combination of these, of this criteria selection here to come up with a filtered search that we're looking for. In our case, we're just looking for, we're calling it emails for March, so we're just going to look for dates between March, beginning and end of March. So click on the start date, we'll pull down calendar, and we're going to go to March 1st for the start date, and then for the end date, we're going to pull down here, and we're going to go to April, March 31st, let's say. Okay, so let's say this is all I wanted to do, just all the emails that are out there for March. And I click submit at the bottom of the form. Okay, and this is where it's this convenience thing I was talking about comes in. It says list of your selection is at. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that, which will now bring up my spreadsheet. But notice the spreadsheet looks very different. And it just has a couple of columns here. And one column says execute in Gmail. The other one says execute in inbox. Okay, so you have choices of executing either one. In my case, I'm going to use Gmail. So when you hover over the link, emails for March, and click on the actual link that shows up, it's going to open a new tab, and it's going to go ahead and show me all the emails for the month of March, right there, as you can see, from beginning to end. Okay, so that's right there. If I wanted to do something else, let's say I wanted to, let's say we wanted to, I don't know, look for emails from Ingrid. I have a contact named Ingrid, so I say Ingrid's emails, and I'm going to say I'm going to look from I'm going to put in the search criteria the word Ingrid. So if she's got that name, I'm going to show her emails. I could specify her email address, but I don't remember what it is. So I'm just going to put so it finds everybody with Ingrid, and then I'm going to say I'm going to look for it anytime, doesn't matter. Or let's do it in April. Let's just say we're looking for anything from her between April 1st and April 20th today, as an example. Okay? And we're looking for everything in the inbox. So I'm going to click on inbox, and that's all I'm going to specify. Click submit, and now it says go back to this. So if I click here again, it's going to open up. Now notice I got two things. I got Ingrid's email and emails for March. If I click on Ingrid's emails, it's going to go ahead and open up another tab, show me Gmail, and there's all these different things, Ingrid everywhere, basically. So these are the emails that came from Ingrid, but notice it's not just emails from her or with her in it, but also in the month of April from beginning till today. So play around with this thing. You can put in whatever criteria you want, and you can put in as many of these things. It'll just keep adding and adding and adding here. And then keep in mind that at any point in time, whenever you're sitting in the spreadsheet, you don't have to keep going through the form back and forth unless you have new criteria that you want to specify or new searches, new filters. If I want to right now go ahead and look for emails for March, I don't need to go through the form again. I just simply go to the spreadsheet, select emails for March, and click on it, and it will open up a new sheet. I'm sorry, not new sheet, new tab, and it'll show me all the emails for March again. Okay, so in other words, once you store the entry using the form, then you can go and use it as many times as you want. You can have as many of these entries here as you would like, similar to the quick links on Gmail. And of course, you can put a lot more criteria, a lot more sophisticated criteria than just from and to and search. You can also specify dates, which is very useful. You can also specify things that were in chat, for example. You can also specify if there's attachments. You put in the file name, so it'll find the file name or file size you're looking for. You can do exclusions of certain words. You can select categories you're searching in. You can select locations, like if you want to look for everything that was from a certain person that was sent to them, you can just specify sent location. It'll only come up with those. And you can specify any of these statuses. You can say, show me everything that's been starred, or everything in his attachments. And for inbox users, you can have additional options here, like reminders. For example, you can say, show me, you put in criteria and say in reminders. So if you set up reminders on inbox, it'll show you those reminders. And of course, you can also use things like combination of these, like reminders that are done, for example, something that's not easily, you can't do it using regular inbox without special commands. So this thing allows you to do it by knowing what these commands are, or being able to look at reminders that are snoozed. You simply select reminders and snoozed. It'll only show you reminders that you currently have pending and snoozed for later. So it tells you right here that's inbox only. So play around with these things and see how they work out. And if you have any questions, certainly get a hold of me and I'll be happy to answer them. Also, one last thing I wanted to mention, that in the specification for locations, you're able to put in the other, and that's where you have bundles. In inbox, you can have all kinds of different bundles, so you can specify bundle name and it'll automatically find that particular bundle. So it's also very, very useful. For now, that's pretty much it. That's how you set it up. Again, if you have any questions, contact me on Google. I'll be happy to answer them, on Google Plus, I should say. Until next time, thank you.